What if I told you one of the most famous guitar solos in history was actually a cold blooded act of revenge? Some think Prince showed up to the 2004 Hall of Fame ceremony to play nice and honor a dead Beatle. But that's not entirely the case. He was actually there because a bunch of people at a magazine told him he wasn't good enough. And he decided to spend 4 minutes making everybody on stage look like an amateur. He was rocking the red hat, a cheap Honer Telecaster knockoff, and enough pure spite to power the entire city of New York. Here's how the purple one played a solo so aggressive it actually broke the laws of physics. So it's 2003 and Prince has this problem. He's one of the most famous rock and pop artists of all time, sold over 100 million records. He can play about 27 different instruments better than you can do anything. But the gatekeepers over at Rolling Stone magazine don't see it that way. They decide to put out this big official list of the 100 greatest guitarists of all time. They're checking off all the usual suspects. They got the guys with the long hair, the guys who look like they haven't showered since the 70s, and of course the blues legends. And when the list finally comes out, everybody looks for Prince's name, and they realize something crazy. He's not on it, like at all. So Prince sees this, and he's like, all right. And here's the guy who spent his whole life devoted to the instrument, of course devoted to many of them. Now these classic rock experts, quote unquote, are saying that he's just a pop star who dances around in lace. So basically saying he is not a part of that club. And they got Kurt Cobain on the list who, let's be honest, wasn't exactly Segovia, but they leave the guy off who recorded that killer solo in Let's Go Crazy in one take. Total insult. But here's the thing about Prince. He's not about getting mad, he's about getting even. So he spends the next few months sitting in Paisley Park, staring at that magazine and waiting for the perfect moment to make them eat their words. And that is when, boom, he gets the call. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame wants to induct him in the class of 2004. That's not the interesting part. The interesting part is that they also want him to perform in a tribute to George Harrison, who's being inducted posthumously as a solo artist. Now, most people would see this as a nice little invitation to jam with some legends, but Prince sees it as a sanctioned hit. He knows that Jan Leonard, the guy who runs Rolling Stone and the Hall of Fame, is going to be sitting right there in the front row. And he knows the guys he's supposed to play with are the ultimate classic rock royalty. Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne from ELO, Steve Winwood. These are the guys the industry worships. And so Prince decides he's going to walk into their house, take their song, and burn the whole damn place down. He's not coming to pay tribute to George Harrison. Or maybe he is a little bit, but it's actually a lot more about settling the score with everybody who doubted that he could shred. So the night before the big show, all these legends gathered at the Waldorf Astoria in New York to rehearse While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Right from the start, the vibe's a bit weird. You got Tom Petty and his band, the Heartbreakers, who are very professional, very rock and roll. They have their established way of doing things. You got Jeff Lynne. He wants this thing to sound exactly like the Beatles record. And then Prince walks in. Doesn't really talk to anybody. He's just there. And so they start playing the song. When it gets to the part where the guitar solo happens, the room gets tense. So on the original Beatles recording, the solo was played by none other than Eric Clapton. We're talking about a guy who could play a note, and while that note is sustaining, he could go to the spa, maybe grab a bite of food, take a nap, get up, saunter around for a bit, come back, and finally the note stops. And it's one of the most famous solos in history. And Jeff Lynne has brought his own guitar player, a guy named Mark Mann, to play that specific part. Mark Mann, of course, is a great player. He learned that Clapton solo note for note. It's got the tone, the bends, everything. So during the rehearsal, they get to the solo section, and Mark Mann steps up and plays it perfectly. It's nice and safe and respectful, and it sounds exactly like the record. And Prince, well, he's standing in the shadows, just kind of noodling on rhythm guitar, playing these little chopped chords, real quiet, not really showing anything. The other guys on the stage are looking at each other like, is this it? Is this the guy who we should be expecting to jump around and be all crazy and stuff? Now, at one point, the show's producer, Joel Gallen, gets a little nervous. He's the one who fought to get Prince on this stage because he knew Prince could bring the fire. But right now, Prince is giving him nothing. So Gallen goes up to Prince. He's like, hey, are you sure you're good with the solo? You want to practice it? And Prince looks at him, looks at Mark Mann playing his little perfect Beatles tribute, and he goes, let that guy do what he does, and I'll just step in at the end. And that was it. Didn't play a single note of the real solo in rehearsal. Total sandbagging. Really what it was that he just didn't want anybody prepared for what he was planning. Let Mark Mann play all the perfect Beatles licks and saying, tomorrow, things are going to be a bit different. He's not going to play Clapton's solo. He's going to play Prince's solo. And so the night of the ceremony arrives. The Waldorf Astoria is packed with the biggest names in music. Everybody's dressed in black or gray, looking very serious, very Hall of Fame. Tom Petty's up there, stoic in a dark jacket. Jeff Lynne has his sunglasses on indoors because, well, he's Jeff Lynne. George Harrison's son, Donnie, is on an acoustic guitar, looking happy to be included. The song starts. It's perfectly fine. Respectable cover. It's exactly what the industry wants. Safe, boring, and predictable. And for those first 3 minutes, Prince is just standing off to the side, almost in the dark. But you can't miss it. Well, everybody looks like they're totally subdued. Prince is wearing a black suit with a blood red shirt, unbuttoned, matching red Mad Hatter hat. Looks like a pimp from the future who took a wrong turn at Mars. Standing there with that beat-up Hohner Mad Cat Telecaster. Not a $50,000 vintage Gibson like some of the other guys are playing. It's the cheap knockoff guitar that Prince bought at a gas station in the 70s because he liked the leopard print pickguard. He's holding this thing like a weapon. So Mark Band does his thing, plays the first half of the solo, totally nails the Clapton part. It's lovely, gentle, and it definitely weeps. And then the bridge of the song ends, and that's when the moment happened. Tom Petty finishes the vocal line, looks over at the dark corner of the stage, and then gives Prince the nod. It's a small nod. Go ahead, man. Prince steps out. Totally frickin' detonates. Starts hitting those unison bends so loud and sharp it basically sucks the air out of the room. Tom Petty's like, oh yeah, here we go. It's on. Prince isn't playing the melody anymore. He's playing pure, unadulterated aggression. Got a bit of effects on the guitar. Nothing too crazy, but enough to let that tone just pop right out. And so he starts moving across the stage, doing things with the guitar that the dudes hadn't seen in decades. Massive bluesy bends, some fiery runs a la Hendrix, making that thing scream. It's not weeping anymore. He's not following that Beatles vibe. He's playing like he's trying to win a fight. And all the while he's got that smug little grin on the face, friggin' just digging in. Looking right at the front row, right at Jan Wenner and the editors who left him off the list, and showing them exactly what 101st looks like. So about halfway through the solo, Prince decided he needed to take it even further. Didn't want to just outplay them musically. Wanted to dominate the physical space of the stage, strutting past Tom Petty, cutting in front of Jeff Lynne, totally hijacking the performance. And then he turns his back to the audience and falls backwards on stage. And the whole point is to make people feel like, oh man, it's a disaster. But Prince, he planned this. Falls backwards into the front row, doesn't hit the ground. Large man pops out of the crowd and catches him. That's Takumi Swatsugu, Prince's longtime guitar tech. And Takumi just happens to be standing there, like a Secret Service agent. And so he props Prince up. It's the ultimate fuck you move. Like he's saying, screw all you guys. I don't even need to stand on my own 2 feet to destroy this stage. I mean, Tom Petty, he's totally amused by this. He's digging it. It's obvious to him that the quote-unquote tribute part is over and the Prince show has begun. Jeff Lynne, he's just staring straight ahead, wondering if his insurance covers this, apparently. Then you got Donnie Harrison, George's son, and he's just beaming ear to ear. Because before the show, Prince had pulled him aside and told him, I'm going to make sure you have fun tonight. When Donnie realizes that Prince is the only person on that stage who's actually playing with the same kind of unpredictable fire that his dad had. And Prince just keeps on going. Gets back on stage and starts doing the shotgun moves with the guitar, pointing the neck at the audience, sliding the hand down the fretboard, whipping out some pinched harmonics, just taking over the whole damn thing. The cameras can't even stay on the other legends because Prince is just doing too damn much. Just totally getting lost in the performance, making everybody else look pretty darn subdued by nature. Steve Ferrone, the drummer for the Heartbreakers, is back there sweating because, to his credit, he was working up to match that intensity and would keep that intensity going. And he later said that he had no idea Prince was even going to do any of this. He thought Prince was just going to play a few bars and fade out. Instead, Prince is basically leading the whole band into a frenzy, conducting them with the guitar nut, forcing these dudes to play harder than they have in 20 years. So the song finally comes to an end. Band's hitting the final chords. Prince is just wailing away. Hits one last massive, sustained heavy note that seems to go on forever, engaging in a really killer vibrato. As the final beat hits, Prince does the most legendary thing that he ever did on a stage. Takes off the guitar, instead of gently placing it on a stand or handing it to a roadie, holds the guitar in front of him and throws it hard, straight up in the air. It's at 10-15 feet up. Then he turns around and walks off the stage. Doesn't wait for the applause, no shaking hands with the guys, no taking a bow. Just adjusts the red cuffs, pivots, and struts away like he's got a bus to catch. And of course, the guitar never came back down. If you watch the footage, it goes up into the lights and then it just kind of vanishes. No sound of it hitting the floor or roadies running on screen to catch it or nothing. Just to the TV audience, it just disappears into basically thin air. And the look on the faces of the other musicians, of course, is priceless. They're all standing there holding the final chord, looking up at the ceiling, waiting for this cheap Hohner telly to come crashing down. But it never does. Bit of a magic trick that Prince used to mess with them one last time. Well, so where'd the guitar go? Well, remember Takumi, the human kickstand? Prince had given him very specific instructions. Catch the guitar and hand it to Oprah. Yeah, Oprah Winfrey. She was sitting in the front row. So while Prince is walking off, Takumi dives in, catches the guitar out of the air before it hits the ground. Then he hands it to Oprah for a bit in the front row. Ultimately, that guitar made it to be on display at Paisley Park. But it was a perfect ending to the perfect revenge plot. Walked into a room full of people who thought he was just being a pop star, showed up some of the biggest names in rock, floored the audience there and a bunch of people out in TV land who saw the guitar disappear into another dimension, and walked out before they could even say thank you. So the next day, nobody's talking about the Hall of Fame inductions. Nobody's talking about Tom Petty and the Heartbreaker. All anybody could talk about was Prince. The video of the solo starts circulating. It's before YouTube was really a thing. So people are emailing low-quality files to each other. It becomes a gold standard for what a guitar solo is supposed to be. The gatekeepers at Rolling Stone, they had no choice. They admitted they were wrong. A few years later, when they updated their list, Prince shot all the way up to the top tier, landing at number 14. He had bullied his way back into the guitar god conversation through sheer brute force. So for years after that, people would ask the guys who were on stage about that night. Steve Ferrone, the drummer, actually asked Prince about it later at a party. So was that a revenge solo? Referring to the Rolling Stones snub, Prince just looked at him and said, well, they know now. And Tom Petty, he loved it. Of course, the dude was always a class act. He said later that he saw Prince at the Waynes and told him to burn it up. But even he had to admit that Prince took it to a place that nobody really expected. Teddy said, I think he just wanted to show us what he could really do. Now, here's the thing about the whole situation, though. Prince never played with those guys again. And he didn't need to. He made his point. Showed the world he could try to put him in a box, say he doesn't belong, but instead of doing something like a tribute, he just did a full-on hostile takeover. And that is how Prince used a dead Beatles song to remind everybody that he certainly deserved to be on that list. Like, subscribe. Thank you.